Hi friends, welcome to Knowledge Share. Today we are going to see PnP Animated Dialog control. So how we can use the animated dialog control in our SPFx project. As always, this is PnP GitHub page for animated animated dialog control. So this is nothing new. This is an enhanced version, extended version of an Office UI Fabric Dialog. So they have just extended the dialog to use Animate.css for animations. So when you see a normal dialog, it will just pop up, display whatever the information we need to put it in the dialog, and then it will disappear, and the overlay and all those things are common in a dialog. But what if we add some animation to the dialog? If you see here, using the Animate.css frameworks, if you see the dialog here, you can slide it from top to bottom, from left to right, a bubble, and there are so many animations type you can use it with this dialog. And that is the main objective of this control. Other than that, if you see here, they have just given how to use the animated dialog, and it has some properties where you can pass in the animation that you want to use, and also some callback methods if you are using yes or no button. So mostly many of you know that dialogues are used for getting the confirmation, and especially if you are going to delete an item or delete anything, there should be a confirmation dialog. So that is the very common use case scenario. But you can also use dialog to capture or to show a small form or any other information. Okay, and you can also add icons and functions to this animated dialog. And if you go through this page, you can see a lot of examples, and you can even customize the entire appearance of the dialog. And there are so many properties which you can leverage on to customize the dialog. And I have also written a blog post on this animated dialog with a sample code. So you can go through this blog post and you can read the description. I have given a detailed description of how it is used and what all the changes you need to do, and there is a link to the working sample which has animated dialog sample as well as the other controls sample bind to a different web part. Okay, as I told previously, this is the Animate.css CSS framework, where you can see, you can find all the animated style, and when you click on it, you can see how the animation works. The same animation name, you can use it for the dialog, and your dialog will work in the same way how this text is working. So for example, fade in up, so it's fading from the bottom to the up. So the same way the dialog will fade in from the bottom to the up if you use this animation type. Okay, so you can go through these animations, and then you can choose whichever you like. That it's not so jazzy, but it's in a presentable way to the end users. So now let us dive into the demo. And once after the demo, then we will see how I have created this web part using the animated dialog control. This is my demo page. The code is running on the back end. So I have 3 buttons. So first is to show the animated dialog. So this is just a dialog which flash in, and then you have 2 buttons, yes or no. So it will automatically hide it. So this is one type of animated dialog, and this is a custom animation dialog where it's just flying in from the top, and when you click S, it will just hide. Okay, And the third option is animation dialog with the icon. So here, if you see here, when I click S, so it will perform some operation and then the dialog will display good answer with the new dialog. And when you click on OK, it will vanish. So likewise, when I click No, it will just hide the dialog. So this is very a simple demo, and it's a very simple control, but it gives a very good presentations or presentable appearance for your UI instead of using a normal dialog, an age-old method of dialog. Instead of that, if you use the animated dialog, it will give your applications a kind of a booster. Now let us dive into the code, and then we will see how it's used. So I have created a web part called dialog demo web part. So you can find in the sample. So this is a normal React web part, and there are no much changes to this web part. There are no custom properties, nothing like that, except I'm just declaring the theme. That's it. So I'm not even passing the theme. If you see here, these are all the default properties when you create a web part. So obviously there are no changes to this webpart.ts file, and even to the property file, nothing, no changes. And this is the actual component here. So I have declared 3 state variables. The first is to show animated dialog, whether to show or not. And the second is animated dialog scope. So this, based on this scope, the 3 types of dialog will be displayed. And the third is to whether I need to disable the buttons inside the dialogs or not. So this is especially for the third sample I showed you, where when I click on the yes button, so you can perform some operations on the back end. At that time, there will be a progressing symbol which will show to the user. At the same time, if there are some other buttons available, it should not be in use. So that when you are already processing it, the user should not click the other button. So you need to disable all the other buttons. So that is why this state is used. So these are all some of the methods I'll be using. And if you see here, I have created a separate component called anim dialog, where I am passing in the show anim dialog property, whether to show the dialog or not. The second one is the set dialog status method, where here I am just setting the anim dialog, and also I am just setting the disable state of the buttons to false. So this is the one method I am passing in, and I am also passing in the scope. As you see in the demo, I have 3 buttons. So the first button, show normal animated dialog without any customization, where I'll just set the scope as 0. For the custom animated dialog, I'll set the scope as 1. And for the with icon, custom animated dialog with icon, which was the third option, I am just declaring the scope as 2. So here it's very minimal. Let us move to the anim dialog component, where you see here I am just inheriting the dialog, animated dialog, from the PnP controls animated dialog. And if you see the properties, I am just getting the 3 properties as we have discussed earlier from the main component. And this is the functional component anim dialog. Here I have declared 3 state variables, show dialog to show it, and show the success dialog, which is for the third sample. When the processing is done by the yes method, then it will show the success dialog, or else it will show the error dialog if there are any errors. And these are all some of the properties for the animated dialog content. So this is the success dialog content properties, and this is the error dialog. And the model props, when I click on the button, it shows the dark overlay at the back end, and it is also blocking it, so that when you click when the user click outside the dialog, it should not immediately hide it. It should still show the dialog, and that is the property is blocking. If is blocking is false, then when you show the dialog, the overlay will be there, but the user, when they click accidentally outside the dialog, it will automatically hide the dialog. Okay, and for the third option where I showed the yes button, it's just a timeout I have set. So for a couple of seconds it will just show the progressing symbol, and then it will show the success dialog. So this is to show you where you can run a background operation when you click on a button, and in the same time you can just make sure the dialog remain in the screen. And once your functionality is, or whatever the operations you are doing it is done, then you can hide the current dialog and then show the new dialog. So in order to show all these things, I have just used the timeout functionality. And on the yes button, I'm just clicking the hiding the dialog and then showing the success dialog. So this is the first is the normal dialog with nothing, no other animation. It will use the default animation 1. The second one where I am using it fade in down and fade out down animation with 2 buttons. And the third is where I am using some other properties like icon and OK button text, cancel button text, and what should happen on OK click, and what should happen once the OK click is done. So if you see the timeout here, on OK click, I am just calling the timeout for, I am just waiting it for 1.5 seconds. And after that, I am just returning a new promise. So once I return a successful promise, right, this on success method will be called, where I am just hiding the existing dialog and then showing the success dialog. When the no button is clicked, I'm not doing anything, I'm just hiding the dialog. That's it. And this is a success dialog, which is a normal dialog with an icon where it shows thank you, and there is only one button. It will hide the dialog, and the same goes for the error dialog. So as you can see, guys, this is a very simple code where you can leverage this control in your SPFx project, and it's a great way to represent a dialog instead of showing a boring dialog. Please make use of these controls. There are so many other controls provided by the community, which is a very big community and well maintained community, and there are so many things coming up in future. Day to day there are a lot of improvements, and there are a lot of issue fix going on, and a lot of new controls are introduced. Please go and check the PnP SPFx controls and make use of it, and do not develop it from scratch, and do not waste your time. Whenever you need to do some development and whenever you have to show some or use some controls, please go and check the PnP controls first, and then if it is not available there, then start building it new, or else you can use these controls. These controls are all free, provided by the community, and there is a very good support from the community. Whenever you guys raised an issue, mostly it will be resolved within few days, as long as the issue is not very critical, and you will also get an alternate solution or help from the community if the issue resolve is going to take a lot of time. So I hope you guys learned something new. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Cheers.